Alrighty. Let's see. How is this looking? Are we looking good? Let's see, checking the stream on my phone real quick. I think we're all set. What is going on, everybody? Appreciate everybody who is rolling in right now. If you guys are familiar with this series, it always takes me just a minute or two to get this all set up, making sure that everything looks good on the stream, which I'm looking at on my phone, sharing it on socials, stuff like that. So bear with me for just a minute here and we will get started. But I appreciate everybody for tuning in, as always. Hope everybody's having a good day so far. Mine has not been too bad. Let's see. Let's see. Can we get this going? I apologize for this taking a while, guys. Gotta get it out on socials so we can get as many people on here as possible. Always great to have a couple of y'all here. Let's see. Okay, I think we're all set to go. That one took a little while, guys. Again, I apologize for that. Stay in Grand Canyon, cool. I think we're all set. All right. Alrighty. What is going on, everybody? This is Justin Martinez, aka JD Sports Dude, coming to y'all live from my apartment. Hopefully you all are staying at your homes as well, practicing social distancing and staying safe during this pandemic. And I'm here to provide y'all with a little bit of extra entertainment. That's right, folks. It is time for the latest edition of Aggie Rewind, the series where we go back and watch New Mexico State's most recent game. And in this case, the Aggies had a 2-game series on the road against Grand Canyon this past weekend on Friday and Saturday. And we are here to rewatch game number 1 for that one. We will watch game number 2 tomorrow at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, same time as always. Now, I know this probably isn't the game you guys are looking forward to rewatching, seeing as the Aggies did lose this one, actually both of the games. However, we are here to rewatch all of the games from this season. Rain or shine, win or lose, we are here to check them out. Just give my running thoughts on the game, any takeaways that I might have, and also just answer any questions you guys might have about the team as well. That is what I am here to do, just pretty much trying to make myself available to you guys. So I appreciate anybody who is tuning in, even on the games where it is a loss. But I think we have killed enough time here. Let's go ahead and get this one started. I am pulling up the live stream here on my phone, so that way if you guys were to leave any comments, I will be able to see them right away. I always appreciate when you guys do chime in. Just makes it a little bit easier than me trying to commentate this whole game because it will be on mute. It's a lot easier when I can just have a conversation with you guys because I am no Jack Nixon or Adam Young. I've always said that. But I'm going to try my best just to commentate this game a little bit. I also have the stats pulled up for this one so we can reference them while it is going on. And yeah, let me get that right here and then we can get this one started. I apologize for this starting a few minutes late and it taking me a while to get this ready. I actually just came back from Phoenix. I went out to go cover the games for the team this past weekend and ended up staying an extra day on Sunday and just got back right now. I'm talking like 5 minutes before this live stream started. I ran in here, just sat down and set this up and press play. So I apologize if it seems a little hasty here, but let's go ahead and get this one started. This video, as always, is provided by NM Aggie Athletic Archive. They have their own YouTube channel here where they upload the full game video for New Mexico State for men's and women's basketball. They've been doing a lot more women's basketball this year. So make sure to check that out if you guys want to see just some more Aggie coverage. Always good to show them some love because we wouldn't be able to do these live streams without them. Oscar Freire with the ball here for Grand Canyon. Javon Blackshear now here at the 1. A really good Grand Canyon team here. Entering the game 10-3. 4-0 in WAC play. So top of the conference both overall and in WAC play. This is a very good team. To me, still the biggest threat for New Mexico State in the WAC. Johnny McCants with the ball here, searching for someone to give it to. He's going to find Evan Gilliard on the deep 3 ball, and it goes down. Aggies really came out on fire in this one. For those who did go back and or for those who did see this game live. Came out with their hair on fire, but we did see that they cooled down later on. Good find there. Alessandro Lieber to Abjorn Midgard. That really is the deadly duo, the two big men. Best front court duo in the WAC, without a doubt, with the way that they've been playing as of late. Midgard, a walking double-double, averaging just under a double-double. I think he's at about 9.4 rebounds per game, something like that. He entered this series at 9.8, but averaging about a team-high 15. Wilfred Lakai knocking it down. He gets his second start of the season. Now, Donnie Tillman did play this game. That's the person who normally starts over Wilfred. However, Coach Jans opted to not start him in either of these games. We do not know why exactly, although obviously it isn't an injury. One would assume it's something related to disciplinary reasons, but we don't know for sure either way. Donnie came off the bench in both of those games. He had normally been the starter. But Wilfred handled it well. He handled it really well against Western New Mexico, although that obviously is not a Division I team. He came out here against a very good Grand Canyon squad and really showed out. Probably across both games was their most consistent scoring option, if not second, right behind Johnny McCants. So, gotta give credit where it is due to Wilfred Lakai. He's handled this expanded role very well so far. Speaking of Johnny McCants, he has the ball right here. We're really running into a brick wall that is Alessandro Lieber. He's got it here on the perimeter. Loses the ball here. It's a turnover. Javon Blackshear Jr. going the other way. And they did call it off here again. I got to emphasize this for every single game. I do have it on mute. So I'm going to be a little bit lost every now and then because I don't remember all the plays, obviously. So, but it did look like they called this one off. Appreciate everybody for starting to roll in and tune into this one. Game 1 between New Mexico State and Grand Canyon. This was on Friday in Phoenix, Arizona. We'll be watching Game 2 tomorrow at 7 p.m., same time. Aggie set to play Cal Baptist this upcoming Friday and Saturday. And we have the home venue. It has been decided, in case you guys have not been keeping up with it this past hour. It actually just happened. The Aggies will be playing the rest of their home games. Actually, the men's and women's basketball teams will be playing the rest of their home games at Eastwood High School in El Paso, Texas. As Wilfred Lakai continues to just torch him from deep. 6'9", able to spread the floor really well. Casper College transfer. Rest of the games will be played at Eastwood High School. The team is still able to practice here in New Mexico. However, state restrictions still prevent them from playing games in the land of enchantment. So they have to go to El Paso in order to make that happen. We got some info on the contract situation. It's going to be $5,000 per week for both New Mexico State and the men's and women's team. It's $5,000 combined. Yes, they're going to be paying $5,000 per week in order to play there at Eastwood. It's a pretty nice gym. Holds 2,000 people. It was recently renovated, I believe, heading into the 2019-2020 season. So last year, Wilfred Lakai lets it fly. No good this time. Bit of a heat check, but Clayton Henry, good work there. It's a solid gym. If you read the article that I just published on it, I have photos of it, of the gym. The Eastwood Troopers, I believe. we see Johnny McCants getting the steal. Yes, sir. So that is what they will be playing their game against Cal Baptist this weekend. Their 2 games, I should say. And the first opportunity for New Mexico State women's basketball to play there is going to be next week when they play Seattle on Friday and Saturday. They're going to be on the road this weekend against Cal Baptist. So that is the setup. They've been looking at a couple other high school options. Bel Air was really the other finalist. Another school in El Paso. But Eastwood is the place. You see a look there at New Mexico State, 3-1 on the season. Still looking for their first Division I win of the year. Their only Division I opponent that they had faced going into this one was Cal State Northridge, which they did lose to. Crazy enough, they'd scheduled 10 other Division I games, all of which got postponed or canceled. There was Cal Poly, there was Santa Clara, the 2 against UTRGV, the 2 against Dixie State. I'm probably forgetting some more, but there were a couple other ones, added up to 10 in total, that have been postponed or canceled so far. So just tough break for New Mexico State so far, without a doubt. But they are off to a great start here, 13-4. With 15:45 left. Javon Blackshear Jr. lets it fly. Aggies really took control of this one early on. 3 of their first 4 3-point attempts went down. But after that, I think they only made 2 the rest of the game. They finished something like 5 for 30. I'll check the stats in a little bit. But they went ice cold. And there's Midgard getting the rebound. And I mean, it's to be expected they're going to have some shooting struggles. You know, this is their first game since that game against Cal State Northridge on December 28th. They had been on pause for about 2 weeks as well. I believe it was something like February I'm not going to try to guess it, but it had been about 2 weeks in early to mid-January. So this is a team that definitely came in with a good amount of rust. But at the end of the day, you know, you have to shoot better than I think it was like 30% from the floor that they shot in this one. It's not even like a lot of these were bad looks either. They just weren't falling for them. As we see, CJ Robert lets it fly. You know, especially against a team like Grand Canyon. It's not going to be enough as we see the finish down low there. 13-6 in favor of New Mexico State. Got the box score up here. Just checking Twitter every now and then. Like I said, I did just post that article. I sent out a tweet on Twitter saying that we were live and we were watching this game right now. I've gotten a pretty good amount of people that have said, no offense, man, but I am not tuning in for that. I don't want to watch this game. You got one person who's actually pretty active on Twitter, NMSU Aggie Fanatico, saying, I will never in a million years watch that game again, Justin. No offense. It's understandable. I definitely know going into these live streams that, you know, on games that they won, I'm going to get a lot more people watching it with me than games when they lose. I get that. But, you know, at the end of the day, my job is to rewatch all the games. So I will be here rewatching these. I just hope that you guys join me for it. 13-6, Grand Canyon is trailing. Got the shot is up, and that one is down. I actually don't know the name of that player there. Number 2 for Grand Canyon. Let me give this guy some credit. This is Chance McMillan, or Million. I don't know all the names of the players, so that's why I have the roster up here. Only know about maybe the first 7 on the team, not too many. Turn over here on Donnie Tillman and the Aggies. So yeah, quick sub to get into the game. Obviously not dealing with any sort of injuries. But he has been coming off the bench these past few games. Gotta think that it's disciplinary. Again, that's just speculating. But, you know, Donnie did have some disciplinary problems at his previous schools. at UNLV. He had missed multiple practices, or been tardy to them, I should say, not missed them. He'd been tardy to multiple practices, and that ultimately led to him being benched for a little while at UNLV. So just speculation, but clearly it's not an injury since he is playing. Wouldn't be anything COVID related. So either way, you'd have to think he'll come back in eventually, even though Wilfred is playing really good basketball at the moment. We'll see what happens there. Wilfred is not going to give up that spot easily, I'll tell you that, though. He's been playing really well so far. Easily the most impressive player from this series. Jansen actually said that we had his press conference, his weekly press conference earlier today in the morning, and he said that, yeah, he was the bright spot of this series, Wilfred Lakai. Is only a redshirt junior. Was supposed to play last season, make his Aggie debut after transferring from Casper College, but suffered an injury before the season that sidelined him for the whole year. And he's someone that, beginning of the year, for those who don't follow my Straight Shooter podcast, I had said in my bold predictions, I thought Wilfred Lakai was going to lead the team in bench points per game this season. Which definitely, if he's going to go back to the second unit at any point, I'd imagine he will do that. Just fearless, too. And that's really the thing that you're looking for out of these newer guys, just shooting the ball with confidence. Good shot selection as well. And again, being 6'9", able to spread the floor the way that he does. He handled it well against Alessandro Lever. That's a tough matchup, but he's one of those guys that does match up well because Lever also is very capable of stepping out to the three-point line. I think he entered this series shooting like 40%, something like that, 40.8%. So you see Mikey Dixon with the bucket there. Now it's CJ Roberts going the other way. Roberts, another one of those new guys on the team that they really need to make an impact, as we see a little bit of miscommunication there. And he's shown flashes. He's definitely shown flashes. He did in this series. He did early in the series, like early in the season. The game against Arizona Christian, he did a really good job of keeping them in that second half. With a low scoring spree of his own. His consistency has been the thing with him. So we're coming out of the break here. New Mexico State still on top. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Checking this out with me. We are watching Game 2 tomorrow at 7 p.m. Aggies still in search of their first Division I victory of the season. This is the WAC opener for the team. Postponed its first series against Dixie State. Postponed its second series against UTRGV. And speaking of which, we have a little bit of an update on that UTRGV series. It is not canceled. It is being called postponed by New Mexico State. And Jan said earlier today in his press conference, you see Clayton Henry letting it fly, no good. Jan said earlier in his press conference that the team is looking into rescheduling that series with UTRGV. They're still actively trying to reschedule it. Now, both teams still are booked on the weekends. You see a nice steal and a no-look pass by Jabari Rice. Great play there by Jabari, and Donnie taking it to the rack for the foul. What was I saying? They're still looking at rescheduling. Both teams are booked for the weekends because all the WAC games are Friday and Saturday. So unless something were to open up on the weekends, which would have to be because of one of the teams going into a pause due to COVID protocols, if that doesn't happen, then they're going to have to look for something in the middle of a week. And Jan said that they are hoping to get something done soon. So you'd have to imagine that there will be a series between New Mexico State and UCRGV in the middle of a week. We're not sure when that's going to be, but the Aggies are supposed to host that one. So whenever it does happen, if it were to happen, it would be at Eastwood High School in El Paso because that's where the Aggies are playing the rest of their home games. So hopefully that one can happen because one of the big concerns with New Mexico State this season is, are they going to get enough games to qualify for the NCAA tournament? For those that don't know, you need to play 13 Division I games in order to be eligible for the NCAA tournament. As of right now, New Mexico State, they have 13 games currently that they can play. That's including the ones they've already played. So they have the one against Cal State Northridge, and then they currently have 12 that they can play in WAC play, because it's normally 16. The UTRGV one is currently not scheduled, and the Chicago State ones are also not going to happen because Chicago State suspended its season. So as of right now, 13 games for New Mexico State. It would just barely reach that minimum. However, if it were to reschedule the UTRGV series, it can go up to 14 and now 15 games since it's two of them. And then also one conference tournament game will count towards that minimum requirement as well. So they can have a maximum of 16 Division I games still under their belt by the end of the season. Not a whole lot of room for error if some games were to get canceled and weren't being able to be rescheduled. But yeah, as of right now, they're still good to meet that requirement of 13 D1 games and be eligible for the NCAA tournament. So definitely getting that UTRGV series would be nice to give them a little bit more room for error. We'll see what happens with that. It's going to be a developing story that if you guys want to stay up to date with any of my updates on stuff like that, or just any updates on Aggie hoops in general, you can follow me on Twitter at JDSportsDude. As soon as I know something, that's the first place where I go to let you guys know. And then, of course, I'll write articles posted on lcsunnews.com, all that kind of stuff. 14-10, New Mexico State with 10:48 left in this first half. Lopes currently on I believe it's a 7-0 run. I think it started off 14-3. Might be mistaken there. Maybe 7-1 run, but either way, momentum is shifting right now in Grand Canyon's favor. As Blacksher gets the ball here and gets it to Lever up top. Mikey Dixon with the ball now, getting into the mid-range and back up top to Lever. Good steal there by Johnny McCants to prevent that pass. A rare error from Javon Blacksher Jr., really one of the more composed point guards in the league, in the conference, I should say. Excellent facilitator, as we see Donnie Tillman hurdling him. He came into the series averaging just under a team-high 6 assists per game. Pretty sure he's still around there at the end of the series because I think he had about that many. He had 8 in this one, and I think he had something like 5 in the second one. But only a sophomore. Excellent facilitator. He was the WAC Freshman of the Year last season. He's also improved his own scoring ability. He didn't really come into college ball as a great scorer. But he's averaging double-digit points per game. He was averaging 11 heading into the series. Shooting the ball better from 3. A really good young prospect. Already in the conversation to be one of the best, if not the best, point guard in the WAC. As we see Mikey Dixon knocking it down. I still got to give it to Javon Levi at UTRGV as the best point guard in the conference. 2-time defending WAC Defensive Player of the Year. One of the best passers in the country in terms of assist rate. He was number 1 by a long shot last season. He's been dealing with injuries, though, this year. He's only played in 6 games so far. So that's kind of, the gap has gotten closer between him and Javon Blacksher Jr., but definitely Blacksher Jr. is coming for that top spot. 14-13, New Mexico State with the lead, 9:28 on the clock. Once again, shout out to NM Aggie Athletic Archive for providing this video. Make sure to go subscribe to them, show them some love. They do post the full game videos, normally like 24 hours after the game is over. So shout out to them. Grand Canyon actually also live streams their games, which is really convenient for me, but it has all the commercials and stuff like that, so that's why we don't have this one. Luckily, NM Aggie Athletic Archive cuts all this up, takes out the commercials, stuff like that. Saves me a lot of time, without a doubt. So you see Gilliard getting into the lane. Johnny with the slam, but he gets fouled. Glad I got to make it out for this series, though, even though New Mexico State, came up empty on this trip. It was good to get out there to Phoenix. Crowd was crazy. 900 fans in attendance on this one. All of them students. So The students are the ones that are normally making 90% of the noise. So it really sounded just like a full stadium, honestly. And then, of course, they had the cutout photos of people, as you can see right there a little bit. So it felt like a full gym. It really did. They get pretty rowdy there. I was there last season. Went out to go cover that one, and honestly, I really couldn't tell the difference. It sounded just like it was a full gym. So I'm pretty much like right at the very top of this row. So all of this is the students, all 900 of them pretty much. So you see Mikey Dixon with the 3-point shot, no good. So it's the whole student section, and at the very top is the media area. And that's where I was at. But it felt like I was just covering a regular game, just like last season. It was good to get a little bit of a sense of normalcy, especially because I had just come from covering the game against Western New Mexico in El Paso at the Haskins Center when it was empty, where you can hear the sneakers squeaking and stuff like that. Really, that one just felt kind of like an exhibition game, honestly, with how quiet it was. So to go straight into this one was a big change. I'm sure it was for the players as well. We see Evan Gilliard with the ball here, getting it to Clayton Henry. 3-point shot all the way for Jabari Rice, no good. Johnny McCants with the board. That's something that the Aggies did really well in this one. Rebounded the basketball. They had 17 offensive rebounds in this game, compared to 5, I believe, for Grand Canyon. And this is a Grand Canyon team that, as we see Lever knocking down a 3-point shot, this is a Grand Canyon team that is known for winning on the glass. Second in the conference in rebound margin entering the series. Second in the country in defensive rebound percentage for their opponents. So the percentage of rebounds that they allow their opponents to get is the second lowest in the entire country, or was entering the series. This is a team that is very good on the glass, as you would expect. 6'10" power forward Alessandro Lever, 7-foot center Abjor Midgard. Credit has to go to the Aggies for going that extra mile there, showing the effort. Tobias Rodriguez, do you know if we will have fans for our home games in El Paso? It has not been determined yet. That was what was said in the press release. They're still working on seeing if they'll be able to have fans. So we don't know as of yet. But as soon as I know, I'll make sure to let you guys know as well. Dota Pants answered the question. I don't see any mention in the press release of that. Yeah, so it's still to be determined. So appreciate you for tuning in, Tobias, as always. And appreciate you as well, Dota Pants. That is a new name I haven't seen yet. So thank you so much for tuning in and chiming in. Yeah, details on the... on everything are starting to come in. We just found out how much it's going to cost the Aggies. For those who are just tuning in, it's going to be $5,000 per week for New Mexico State, both the men's and women's team, to use those facilities. $5,000 combined, not $5,000 each. And yes, fan attendance, we don't have any answer on that just yet. I'm still trying to find out if there's going to be media attendance. I'm assuming there will be. But if there is, then I'll be out there every week for it. So hopefully I'll be able to give you guys some live coverage. Still working to see how much I'll be able to travel for the road games as well. I know they're going to be up in Seattle the following week on the road. I think they're also the other 2 road series. They got Tarleton State on the road and Dixie State on the road. So that's Stephenville, Texas, and St. George, Utah. So still trying to see how much access I'll get to that, or even if the paper has the budget to send me out there. We'll see. But the more live coverage I can bring you guys, the better. It's definitely, it beats watching the game just on my laptop from home. It's good to get out there. We'll see on that. Johnny McCants shooting free throws here. Something that happened a lot in this game as well. A lot of free throws for New Mexico State, especially in the second half, which we're going to see. The Aggies were really aggressive at getting to the line on this one, and that's really what I didn't see enough of in that second game, which we'll go over tomorrow. I'll give my running thoughts on that game, but just a quick one. It really looked like they sort of settled for 3-point shots, which they did fall behind going into the second half, so you tend to try to lean on those 3-point shots. But you can't erase a deficit like that in one play. You have to chip away from it. And I just thought they weren't penetrating the ball nearly enough in that second game. Because, that's what leads to getting fouled. And, they didn't see enough of that, and they weren't shooting the 3-ball well enough, honestly, to justify letting it fly so much from deep. But we'll talk about that a little bit more tomorrow when we rewatch Game 2. Right now, the Aggies with a 21-18 lead. Dota Pants, are you going to do the spring football game replays? I will not. Spring or football in general is not my beat. That is Jason Grove's department. He is the sports editor for the Sun News here where I work at. So he handles all the stuff for New Mexico State football. I handle all the stuff for New Mexico State basketball, and then we tend to split high school coverage. So I'm not sure what he has planned. He won't do a live stream though. He doesn't really do too much of the YouTube related stuff. But yeah, all coverage for New Mexico State football is going to be Jason Groves. I've been trying to tell him he's got to get something started though. The people have been wanting New Mexico State football podcast or something. I'm trying, guys. I'm trying to convince him. We'll see. But either way, of course, he does a great job with just coverage in general. Tied ball game here. New Mexico State and Grand Canyon. 5:45 left in this whack opener for the Aggies. Jason King with the basketball here. Gets to the C.J. Roberts. Gilliard calling for the ball here. Deep 2 from the baseline. No good. And once again, another board. However, that is a push-off, it looks like, on Donnie Tillman. Okay, there's number 2 again. Let's see if I remembered his name. That is Chance McMillian. Yeah. I remember this time. Okay, there we go. I think that was him. Number 2 for Grand Canyon. William McNair getting some early minutes. Tobias Rodriguez, yeah, the fans appreciate what you do. It will make others step up their game. I appreciate that. I just really love doing this kind of stuff. Getting to interact with you guys. That's really my favorite part of the job. And then getting to interact with the players more with like Stray Shooter, especially that series, really fun. I apologize. I haven't been able to get any player interviews for Straight Shooter, my podcast I've been doing this year. The past 3 episodes, we haven't been able to get anything done. Just scheduling problems with the team. I'm just going to leave it at that. We haven't been able to get something set up, which is fine. A lot of the times they've been on pause. They've been having to deal with a lot of stuff. So I apologize. I haven't been able to get that set up. I'm hoping to get something set up with Marcus Watson for this week's episode of Straight Shooter, which is going to be Wednesday at 5 p.m. Mountain Time, as we see Lever letting it fly and drilling it again. No promises on it. I'm going to try my best to get that interview because he did just become eligible today. That's something I didn't mention earlier. February 1st was the date to mark on your calendar for him to become eligible. Just wrapped up a full calendar year here at New Mexico State after transferring from Oklahoma State. That's the requirement. You got to fill out a full calendar year. So he's good to go right away. He's been practicing with the team, even though it was mostly as part of the scout team for the Aggies. He still has been practicing with the squad. He's familiar with the plays, all that kind of stuff. Practice shape is a little bit different from game shape, so there's probably still going to be a learning curve, especially because he didn't play at Oklahoma State. This guy's a redshirt freshman. He hasn't played college ball yet. So there's going to be a bit of a learning curve with Marcus, but, former 4-star recruit, 6'6", can play at the 2 spot. More of a wing player, probably going to get some minutes at the 3. But yeah, this is a guy that is plenty talented, a handful to stop when he gets a head full of steam, when he gets going to the rim. Extremely strong, athletic. Yeah, he's going to be a good addition for New Mexico State for years to come, without a doubt. Dota Pants, or Tiddly Gibbon, I should say. Let me get to him first. McNair had a really good game against GCU Bigs in this one. Appreciate you tuning in, Tiddly. Yeah, he definitely did. That was one of the things that, you guys know, if you follow any of my stuff, I've been a supporter of William McNair, a believer, I should say. I felt like he was going to make the next jump in his game this season. We haven't seen it yet, but, the big thing that I've been saying is that we just need to see that aggressiveness out of him down low. Even in games where he has the size advantage, against all these NAIA teams and Division II teams, we hadn't really seen him go at him much. And, we saw glimpses of that in this series without a doubt. Still working on the boards as well. They need that. They need that, especially while Mayan Kerr is out. That's another thing we forgot to mention. He was supposed to play in this series, but he continues to sit out with a bruised tailbone. So, especially while that's happening, they don't have a whole lot of depth at the 5 spot. Johnny McCants isn't a true center since he's 6'7". He's kind of playing out of necessity at that 5 spot. So, getting William McNair to step up his game is going to be really big for them. And yeah, this is something you can definitely build on. This is about as tough as it's going to get, in terms of matchups this season in conference play. This is about as tough as it's going to be for McNair going up against a 7-footer in Azor and Midgard. Outside of a guy like Fardaws Amok, that's going to be another big one against Utah Valley. But other than that, there's really not too many other matchups where he's going to be at a disadvantage size-wise. So definitely looking for him to piece together a couple of good performances here. Dota Pants is the most media interaction I've seen in a while. You've done well to get as many players so far. I appreciate that. I mean, the goal is to get one every single week. Maybe that's a bit too optimistic for me, as we see CJ Roberts with just an acrobatic finish. He had a couple of those this weekend. Great finisher around the rim. That's always the goal, is to get one every single week. But, it's not always going to be possible. It's going to be conflicts with schedules for guys, especially like during the off season with my series. They don't have to talk to me during the off season. They're all back home and stuff like that, wherever they're from. But, I do appreciate whenever they do find time to talk to me, because at the end of the day, they don't have to. So, always appreciated. As we see New Mexico State trailing 31-26 now with 2:20 left. Grand Canyon has really turned the tables here. Gilliard with the basketball, driving, and a beautiful find there to who else? Wilfred Lakai continues to step up for this team. Just a lot to love when it comes to Lakai's game, man. And a big thing is his mentality. Like I was saying, he's not afraid to take those shots, to call for the basketball. We saw it in game 2. There was a part where shot clock was winding down. Evan had the ball. There's a 6'9" forward, first year playing D1 basketball. He's calling for that basketball at the top of the arc to let it fly. He actually made the shot, even though it was waved off because it didn't get it off in time. But just the confidence to be asking for the ball in those situations. You got to love the confidence. And then right there, it doesn't go in, but he's still shooting a pretty good percentage from 3. Looking for those shots. The big thing that Jans has been talking about really the past few times he's had a press conference is that he's still looking to get confidence or gain confidence in some of these new guys. And I know Lakai was technically on the team last season, but because he didn't play, I'm still considering him a new guy. He's still looking to gain confidence in these guys. There still hasn't been too many consistent outings by guys like CJ Roberts, by guys like, Kalen Williams, Jason King. They've all shown glimpses, but we haven't seen a full, consistent game from them necessarily. But Wilfred Lakai has been really the only one that I can think of that's really put together a strong outing from start to finish. And he's gotten rewarded. He's in the starting lineup. We don't know if that's going to change or not once Donnie starts to gain more PT, but still, he's being rewarded with minutes, and that's what's going to happen with any of these guys. The better you play, the more you're going to get rewarded. We'll see how many of them are able to step up. Tobias says, Dota, like with Coach Benj and Hawk, since they are local. Dota Pants, exactly. We would love to hear about NBA players and international players like AJ and Yvonne. Yeah, I've been working on it. I actually just DM'd Yvonne today, actually. He liked one of my tweets or something, and I just reached out and I was like, how's it going? He's out in Iceland. I saw he's been doing pretty well. I think he had like a 27-14 game or something like that recently. But I like to message him just because, he's in another country right now and all of the articles are in that language. So it's a lot easier to just ask, like, how's everything going so far over there? definitely, definitely, I want to get them on like Straight Shooter, my off-season web series this upcoming summer. Um, but if I'm not able to talk to a current player during the week for Straight Shooter, I definitely should just reach out to them and try to get just an update on how they're doing. Um, I really want to do, or I will do, an article just kind of updating guys, or just updating you all on how last year's graduates are doing. Trevelin Queen's playing for the RGV Vipers right now in the G League. AJ's out in Albania. Um, Yvonne's out in Iceland. I don't know what Terrell's doing. I know Sean Buchanan isn't playing. CJ somewhere? He had told me that he was planning on like trying to get to Spain and play there, but I don't think he signed anything. But yeah, I definitely need to reach out to all of them and get an article together. Just kind of, little update on how everybody's doing. Stephen M., what did I miss? Any news on Kerr? Appreciate you for tuning in, Stephen, as we got halftime here, 37-30, Grand Canyon leading. Didn't miss too much. Hot start for the Aggies. Grand Canyon turns it around. Quick summaries. Eastwood High School, home venue for New Mexico State men's and women's basketball the rest of the season. I think that's about it in terms of news. Marcus Watson, eligible, starting today, so he's good to go now. And then in terms of Kerr, still no update on Kerr, just that he's still out with a bruised tailbone. Hopefully we'll get some more info prior or before his series against Cal Baptist on Friday and Saturday. Dota Pants, I love how Queen is still retweeting New Mexico State men's basketball team's Twitter feed. Glad to see grads supporting their college team. Yeah, I've seen a lot of, Sean Buchanan has done that as well. Seen a little bit from like Terrell Brown, but yeah, it's good. And the cool thing is that a lot of them will like reach or respond if I reach out to them on Twitter or text them or something like that. So that's always cool. Stephen M., was Kerr in Phoenix for the GCU games? I didn't see him on the sidelines or anything like that. I'm assuming he didn't make the trip with them. I don't know for sure. But I'm assuming he didn't make the trip with them. I didn't see him on the sidelines. So we got Gilliard with the ball here to start off the second half. Speaking of Trev out in the G League, also wishing the best for Jamario Jones. He's out there in the bubble as well, playing for the, see if I remember. I know it's the 76ers affiliate, as we see Jabari Rice, and one. Delaware Bluecoats, I believe. Actually got drafted in the G League draft. Jamario did. So, first pick by the Bluecoats. First pick of the second round. The first pick overall for the Bluecoats. So, congrats to him. Wishing both of those Aggie alums the best. Stephen M. Bluecoats, yeah. Dota Pants, who is your most favorite player? I'm assuming you mean from New Mexico State. I don't know. I try not to have favorites because at the end of the day, I don't work for the team. I'm just a reporter for the local paper, so I'm not really supposed to have a bias towards it. I like to more so answer with the guys whose game I like the best. As we see a good strip there by Jabari. This one got called for a travel, I believe. Yep. I kind of like to look at it a little bit better as who do I enjoy watching the most, just based off their game more so than favorites of the players. If that makes sense. But I was a really big fan of Trev's game, obviously, especially after getting to write that feature on him, just talking about his upbringing, homelessness that he dealt with back in his JUCO days, bouncing around different teams. Just really liked his story, so. Definitely a fan of Trev. Other guys, I'm trying to think of guys. Currently on this team, probably one of the guys that I've enjoyed watching the most is Wilfred Lakai. Just because, another guy who came from a JUCO route, 6'9", but is super versatile. Those are some that come to mind. Favorite interviews, Evan probably is my favorite guy to interview. Just because he's a real character, a lot of facial expressions and stuff like that when he's talking. So just always a great interview. Jabari Rice, also a great interview. So those are just a couple guys just off the top of my head. Stephen M, does Queen have a basketball card? I mean, I'm assuming he does, right? I think pretty much if you're just on an NBA team, you will. And he was on the preseason team with the Rockets, so maybe I haven't looked. I would think so though. I'd assume so, but maybe not. He didn't. He wasn't even for the full preseason. He did get waived, so I think he only played 2 games. But yeah, I'm not sure. Grand Canyon 39-33 with 18:28 left. Clayton Henry free throw rims out. Dota Pants, your thoughts on Lofton's guns up motion when he made a 3-point shot, and if some other players should pick it up. Actually, I really didn't even know about that, to be honest. This is my second season on the job, so I obviously know about Zach Lofton and what he did at New Mexico State, and now he's been coming in and out of the league. But I didn't know about the guns up thing. I mean, I think it's pretty much up to the player, saying like, hey, y'all are good to use this as well. I'm trying to think if he's a few years out. I guess Johnny was on the team with them, right? I'm trying to think of other guys that are currently here. Maybe Jabari? Was Jabari on the team with them? Maybe? I'm not sure. There's not a whole lot, so I don't know. That is cool, though. The guns up motion. So you got 39-34 Grand Canyon. Johnny McCann's top of the arc gets it to Jabari Rice, speaking of those two. But yeah, I definitely looked at some film on Zach. Dude was a bucket without a doubt. Now he spends a little time with the Pistons. So we see Johnny McCants 3 rimming out. Not sure what he's up to right now. Is he overseas maybe? Because he's not in the G League playoff. I mean the bubble. See the 3-point shot there goes. Is that Oscar Freire? Yes, sir. You guys might have to update me on that. As Rashawn G recovered from his injuries, that's what Sylvia would like to know. Appreciate you for tuning in, Sylvia. The team really hasn't given any updates on Rashawn. At first, it just looked like it was a rotational thing, that he just wasn't getting minutes. But you would think that, when the team was this short on depth, he would have gotten PT. So I'm not sure what it was, what it is that he's dealing with. Anytime that we ask for injury updates, Jan's always lists them, but he never lists Rashawn. So definitely I'll have to reach out and see, what it is that he's dealing with. Because he's been at the shoot-arounds, mostly just getting rebounds and passing the ball around and stuff. But I don't know exactly what the injury it is or timeline or anything like that. So you got Clayton Henry, Euro stepping into the lane, no good. Johnny McCants working on the boards. That one is also off, though. Appreciate everybody for tuning in, chiming in. If you are watching, always appreciate it when you guys are able to comment. Let's get a little conversation going as we see Mikey Dixon there. He was really trying to put Johnny McCants on skates, but that one's no good. You can just see the confidence in Grand Canyon right now with plays like that, even though it doesn't fall. Really feeling themselves at the moment. Yeah, Grand Canyon definitely looks to be the biggest threat for New Mexico State. Utah Valley also is up there. They've been playing really well with guys like Fardaws Amok, Trey Woodbury, Jameson Overton. It's not a cakewalk conference by any means this year. There are a lot of teams that could beat the Aggies at this moment. Obviously, you'd have to think that New Mexico State is going to get better as they shake off the rust. Even like the guys that are on the court right now, like Jabari Rice and Clayton Henry, this is their first game in a while. They had missed the Cal State Northridge game. Clayton had been out since before that with the game against, what was the game after Arizona Christian? I'm blanking on it. Don't blank on it, Justin. Benedictine Mesa, there we go. So even though they're on the court, they're not at full strength right now. They're also going to have to work on their conditioning and stuff like that because the team just looked tired, honestly, in the second half of these games. So you would imagine that they'd be getting better throughout this season. But definitely there are some real threats to that WAC title in the WAC right now. Tiddly given this team has a hard time finishing around the rim. I hope that's due to a lack of practice. Honestly, the big problem was just getting to the rim. I was saying it earlier, but it looked like they were just settling for 3-point shots. And, there's a mix of reasons for that. Especially in that second game, you fall behind early. You feel like you need to shoot those 3-point shots. If you're tired, you're probably not trying to blow by people as much. You're just going to be shooting threes. There's a number of reasons for it. But yeah, they definitely weren't penetrating nearly as much as they needed to, especially when you're not shooting the three ball well. If you're shooting, then go ahead and let it fly. But obviously it wasn't working, and you just weren't seeing them getting to the paint as much, and as a result, getting to the line as much. They weren't shooting nearly as many free throws in that second game as they did in this one. So yeah, they just weren't penetrating, and then like you said, even when they got there, they weren't finishing very well either. So definitely had their struggles on the offensive side of the ball. Stephen M. Sylvia, who is a better Aggie fan, you or Norma? Sylvia says it's a tie. Stephen M. says nice, Sylvia. Both of you are great. I appreciate you guys for all the support that you provide. It's really appreciated. Dota Pants, is there a potential for a call-in show for Aggie basketball since the coach's show is iffy right now? A call-in show for Aggie basketball. I'm not sure. Is that like what Adam Young is doing, the coach's show? I'm not too familiar with that, if you could help me out with that. I know Adam does a weekly thing with the team, but I don't really know too much about it. Sylvia, zone bothered them quite a bit. Yeah, dude, especially because this team has so much length. Backcourt isn't the biggest, with Javon at 5'10", I think, and Mikey at like 6'1" or 2. But everybody else, really good size. Oscar Freres at about 6'6", and then the front court 6'10" for Lever, 7 foot for mid guard. It's definitely a team that presents a lot of matchup problems, and when they run that zone, yeah, it's hard to get past them. It's hard to penetrate. That's one of the things that Jans was talking about in his press conference today, was that just the zone, they were really having problems with it. Stephen M. Jack Nixon has a call-in show after the games, but he always gives out the wrong number to call in. That's funny. Shout out to Jack, though, man. Local legend, of course. The great Jack Nixon. I didn't know that, though, that he had a call-in show. Yeah, I really wouldn't know too much about any of that. While he's doing that after the games, I'm typing away trying to get this in for print. I've said it before, but the print deadline is normally about 5-10 minutes after the game's over. I gotta have it in so that way I can get in newspapers tomorrow. And I was struggling with that on this game, man. I'll tell you what, because this is my first live game since whatever the game was before the WAC tournament last year. So that was Cal Baptist. Yeah, the Cal Baptist game at home. That was the last time I covered a game that was in person, I guess, other than the Western New Mexico. I don't count that one because, you could write that article at halftime. You already knew New Mexico State was going to win it. But yeah, this is my first one in, a real gym with people there and screaming and stuff like that while you're trying to write. So the deadlines for both of these games was 9:30 Mountain Time, and they both ended at about 9:15. And I was struggling. I think I turned in both of them at exactly 9:30. Just on the dot. I've never missed the deadline, but I was pretty close on both times on this one. A little rusty. But yeah, no, it was tough. Tobias Rodriguez, so you need to shake off the rust too, like the team. Exactly. It's a real thing, man. My photographer was saying the same thing. Nathan Fish, he's the guy that takes photos for the whole paper. He's the only photographer on staff. But he came out to this one as well, and yeah, he was saying the same thing, that he was definitely a little bit rusty going out and covering him, especially because he didn't go to the Western New Mexico game because he's actually off on Mondays, and the game was on Monday. So for him, this was his actual first game covering something. since Cal Baptist before the WAC tournament last year. So yeah, he was saying it too that gotta shake that off a little bit. But it's still, man. I'm still glad that we get to go out there and cover it. You know, as stressful as it can be, especially when it's a close game. Cause like for this one, it was a close one down the stretch. You know, it was like a one possession game with a couple of minutes left. Like I'm writing two articles, one in case they win, one in case they lose. You know, and then on top of that, I'm also trying to live tweet anything that's happening. I'm trying to record plays so I can post it on Twitter so you guys can see it. And you know, I apologize of like when the game's close towards the end of it, I'm probably not gonna be on Twitter as much. And I've gotten people ask like any update on it or like any analysis on the game and stuff like that. I try my best to be as active on Twitter as I can when the game's close down the stretch, but like, at the end of the day, my top priority is I need to get this in for print. So yeah, that's if I am not very active down the stretch of these games, that's why. Just trying to manage my time better. It is tough, man. It's fun though. It's definitely fun. 42-36 Grand Canyon right now with 13:01 left. You see a look at Evan Gilliard there. The UTEP transfer as of last year. At the free throw line. New Mexico State in the bonus here with a lot of time left. This is where all those free throws start to rack up. It's crazy. In the second half of this game, New Mexico State attempted the same amount of free throws as shots that it had from the floor. They had 26 field goal attempts in the second half and 26 free throw attempts from the free throw line, which is just insane. Like, if you have 26 free throw attempts in a whole game, that's like, wow, that is a lot of free throws. But they did that in 20 minutes. They got in the bonus. I think they just got in the bonus right now. Maybe I'm missing it, but still, with like 13 minutes to go, plenty of time. Stephen M., how is the sneaker game going? Appreciate you asking that. I made an impulse buy in Phoenix that I really shouldn't have, but yeah, there was a like a consignment store in Phoenix on Sunday. I stayed an extra day, and I blame Nathan. He's the one who drove me up there, our photographer. I told him don't take me to a sneaker place because I will probably buy something, and he still took me to one. So made an impulse buy, but yeah, so that happened. So we got William McNair at the free throw line, 42-36. The redshirt sophomore at the charity stripe. Definitely did have a couple of good performances in this one. The Aggies really need that front court depth. 5 points per game, 50% shooting, 4.3 rebounds per game this season. Big Will, Ill Will McNair. Dota Pants, any chance for a live WAC tourney coverage in March? Fingers crossed. I am praying for it every night pretty much. I really hope so. Oh, you said WAC tourney. Yeah. WAC tourney for sure. WAC tourney for sure. I'll be out there in Vegas. I was thinking NCAA tournament as soon as you said that. Because that's the one that we're still trying to figure out. Obviously, if New Mexico State makes it. We still really don't know what kind of media access is going to be for the NCAA tournament. We know it's going to be in Minneapolis, that it's going to be in a bubble, which, you know, it wasn't a problem for the NBA bubble. They did have a separate, like, mini bubble right next to it for the media and, like, you know, people who were cooking food and stuff on the campus. I'm not sure if the NCAA is going to do that or not. Hopefully, because I'd love to go out there. But for sure, anything that we have access to, I'm getting sent out there for postseason. So, WAC tournament for sure. Hopefully, NCAA tournament if the Aggies make it and if there's access to it. Dota Pants, you mean when, not if New Mexico State makes it. Hey, I mean, that's the mindset you got to have. But, you know, like I said, it's not a cakewalk conference. It's definitely going to be tough for New Mexico State. Probably looking at them, or I would assume they're not going to be the 1 seed heading into the WAC tournament. So we'll see what happens with it. But Yeah, you got to assume it's going to be a much better version of themselves by the time that rolls around compared to this one right now. And I mean, even then, they had a chance to win both of these games against the top team in the WAC record wise. You know, after not playing a game for a month and being on pause for 2 weeks. So the fact that they were in these games is an encouraging sign. But obviously, when you look at the stats, the way they were shooting, um, plenty of room for improvement. We'll just leave it at that. Dota Pants, thoughts on current WAC standings? We'll focus on GCU, UTRGB, and CBU. Honestly, I think Utah Valley is one that you got to include in there. To me, um, they're the third best, or I shouldn't say third best. They're right behind Grand Canyon as the biggest threat to New Mexico State to me. Because you look at the problems that Grand Canyon presented for New Mexico State because of their size, Utah Valley has the same thing. You know, Utah Valley's got a guy in Fardal Zaymok that's leading the country in rebounds per game by a lot. I'm talking he's averaging like 15 rebounds per game, and the second place is averaging something like 12. Like, this guy is a monster on the boards. If you think Midgard is, Fardal Zaymok is even better on the class. And he could score just as well, just as efficiently. And you got Jamison Overton, who's, I think, like third in the WAC in points per game, averaging somewhere around like 18. Trey Woodbury is a returner as well, who's averaging like 16 per game, shooting over 40% from deep. This guy is a really good three-point shooter. Evan Cole, just a lot of depth in that front court. He's, I think, like a 7-footer that also provides a lot of good backup minutes over there. So it's a team with plenty of size. I think they're going to give New Mexico State a really big problem matchup-wise. So to me, Utah Valley is the second biggest threat. UTRGV I would put at number 3, just because they're a defensive-minded team and New Mexico State is struggling to score the ball right now. So, you know, Javon Levi, we talked about him being the 2-time WAC Defensive Player of the Year. Jeff Ochiri, he's had some problems getting playing time due to injury. Same with Levi this year. But he was the Defensive Player of the Year last season, or the season before, I should say, at Stony Brook, which I forget what the conference is there. I think it's like the America East Conference. I don't know, but he was the Defensive Player of the Year at his conference too. So they got 2 Defensive Player of the Years on that team. Plus Sean Ray, who's really good down low. He's leading the team in points per game. You got, what's his name? I'm going to be mad at myself if I forget his name. Quentin Johnson? I'm going to be so mad at myself because he's one of my favorite players to watch in the WAC. But he's a guard over there. Only a sophomore, and he's averaging a team high, like 7 rebounds per game. He crashes the glass really well. He's one of the guys that's improved the most in the WAC so far this season. It's a really good team as well, so there's a lot of threats for New Mexico State this year, without a doubt. And, you know, like you said, Cal Baptist, too, leading the WAC in points per game. They're going to light it up with anybody, and with the way New Mexico State is playing offensively, it's going to be hard for them to keep up on the scoreboard as well. So that would probably be, you know, excluding New Mexico State in terms of WAC rankings, I would probably put Grand Canyon, Utah Valley, UTRGV, and then Cal Baptist. Dota Pan, so what do you assume the results of the matchup between GCU and UTRGV will be this weekend? Should I spoil it? I'm recording my Straight Shooter podcast literally as soon as this is over. And I always do like my week predictions. So I'll just say tune in to the Straight Shooter podcast for predictions on that. But yeah, I always go through and preview every single WAC matchup for the week. Which this week was tough. I think I was 10-1 going into this week on my predictions. I'd only gotten one wrong. I forget what it was. I think I said Utah Valley was going to split against Cal Baptist, and they won both of theirs, like way back in week 1. But I was 3-3 this past week. I said this would be a split, which I was wrong. And then I think I said sweep, that Dixie State and Tarleton State would get swept, and they split in their series. So this is a tough week for me. I think I'm at, what does that put me at? 13-4 on the year so far. Still isn't too bad, but yeah. Dota Pants, nice. I'll tune in to that for sure. Appreciate that. Yeah, appreciate everybody who's been tuning into those. The views have been pretty good on that lately. I know we don't have a whole lot of subscribers on this channel, so anytime that I get to like 50 views on it, that's more than half of the amount of subscribers, so that's a pretty good percentage. So appreciate everybody that tunes in for that. So we see Midgard soaring to the rim for the alley-oop there. 46-42, New Mexico State with 11:15 left in this one. I will say though, yeah, that's definitely the game of the week in the WAC, or the series of the week, Grand Canyon ETRGV. The last two undefeated teams in the WAC, I believe. UTRGV's 2-0, Grand Canyon's 6-0 now. He's got Gilliard with the ball here, taking it out. Smart decision there. We have Midgard down. He did play through this and also in game 2, so I guess it's nothing serious. Tough guy though. The guy is a brick wall, man. Wichita State transfer. Ooh, looks like Donnie fell right on his knee, I guess. Incidental there, yeah, as you can see. Dude's a hooper, man. Yeah, I mean, he's got to be the WAC player of the year so far. If you're handing it out today, I think he's got to be it. You know, you can make a case for somebody like Fardaz Amok just because his stats are better. But, you know, with them being at the top of the WAC, that obviously plays a big factor in it. So my guess would be is that it would go to Absor and Midgard right now. Maybe Fardaz. Either way, two guys who are new to the WAC. You know, so they're both going to be competing for newcomer of the year as well. There's a lot that have come in and really hooped. Darian Tremmel is a guy that not a lot of people are talking about at Seattle, but I think more people need to talk about. He's averaging something, I'm going to be a little bit off because it's off the top of my head, but he's averaging something like 17 points, I think like 6 assists per game, something like that, which I think puts him at like 3rd or 4th in the conference in points per game. Really good point guard, really good facilitator, a walking bucket. There's a lot of new talent in the conference, without a doubt. As we got Doda Pants saying, put a link in the description for those of us who forget. For a straight shooter, I think you're saying? Yeah, I'll definitely do that. I'll definitely put that in the description. And, you know, if you guys want to stay up to date with any time that kind of stuff gets published, at Jay the Sports Dude on Twitter, I publish it there. And, you know, it can be found everywhere. It's on lcsunnews.com. It's on SoundCloud, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Apple Podcasts. I'm trying to get it on Spotify, but I haven't been able to get it on there just yet. But yeah, man, trying to spread the word on it. I think I can add it right now. Let me see if I can do that real quick. So we got 46-45 in favor of Grand Canyon. Appreciate everybody for tuning in as always. For straight shooter, if you guys are already here on YouTube, there is a playlist. I try to break everything up into playlists here on our channel. So there is one for straight shooter. There's one for stray shooter, which is my off-season thing. There's the press conferences for Jans. There's this Aggie Rewind series. So shouldn't be too hard to find anything, but I'll put the link to that in here right now. Let's see. Try to do this quickly. We got Donnie Tillman at the free throw line. Good thing is I'm going to have plenty of time in this second half because there's a lot of free throws here. New Mexico State living at the charity stripe in this second half, man. I don't know if you guys can hear that. People who live above me they like to slam their doors pretty hard. So we got the Aggies rolling out the press here. Tillman with the free throws to put them out on top. Blackshear Jr. with the ball here. Again, a stat-stuffing sophomore. 5 on the shot clock. Turnaround shot, no good. Someone with the ball. Let's see, there we go. I got the live stream here. Can I put that in right now? I don't think I can add it to the description right now, at least not through mobile. I apologize for that. But yeah, it is on our playlist here, so if you want to check it out there, that's where you can find all the podcasts. Someone with a 3-point shot, no good. Midgard gathers the board. Yeah, I don't know why you can't add it just right here. You would think you'd be able to. I don't know, maybe it's just mobile. There's a problem with it. 1 point lead with 8:35. William McNair getting some PT. And it looks like Tillman with the breather. Blackshear with the ball here. No press for the Aggies. A little bit surprising. Really would have liked to have seen New Mexico State try to press a bit more, force turnovers. Because, when you're struggling so much to score in the half-court setting, just the next best option, or really the best option in general, is to get points out in transition, And Grand Canyon is a team that is prone to turning the ball over, so I would have liked to have seen them be a bit more aggressive defensively. Because the easiest looks are the ones you get off turnovers, Let your defense lead the way. As we see CJ Roberts with a ridiculous shot, man. The control around the rim. He had one like that earlier in the first half also. Great finisher. But yeah, I think Grand Canyon had, I want to say it was 12 turnovers in this one. And New Mexico State only turned it into like 5 points, I think. I've got the stats here for it. Let's see. 2 fast break points for New Mexico State, 5 points off turnovers. When you're struggling to generate offense so much in the half-court setting, you really should be trying to press and force mistakes and get out on transition. But there were just so many possessions where the shot clock's winding down. You're not able to penetrate. It just leads to a bad look. So it's just tough to get anything going when that's happening. Dota Pants, any thoughts on Paul Weir? It's not the team I'm covering. I don't want to be calling for a guy's job when it's not my beat, at least. If I'm covering a team, I'll speak my mind on it. But yeah, they're having problems without a doubt. It's the same thing with New Mexico State though. They're obviously having to overcome a lot right now, having to relocate. I think they're in Texas, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, tough situation for them. But yeah, with it not being my beat, I'm not going to be calling for anybody's job. I know a lot of Lobo fans are. And understandably, the team isn't playing well. I think they're, 1-11, I want to say, in conference play? Or overall. I really don't follow them too much unless I know they got a game coming up against New Mexico State. But yeah, tough times for the Lobos, without a doubt. I will say, though, it's hard to imagine them letting go of him just because, you're going to have to pay not only for the new person you bring in, but pay for that whole staff as well because they're going to clean house. You're going to have Weir still on contract in addition to his entire staff as well. And, similar to New Mexico State, if they were to want to let go of one of their coaches in any sport, it's really hard to find the budget to not only do that, but bring in everybody else. So, not a whole lot of money going around with either programs. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle that. I don't know how many years on his contract he has left, but I know it's not expiring this year. You see CJ Roberts with the ball at the free throw line, gets a 2-point lead for New Mexico State. 7:50 left in this one. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. If you're enjoying this live stream, by the way, please go ahead and hit a quick like on this video. Really helps us out, helps us grow the channel. And also, we'll be watching Game 2 tomorrow at 7 p.m., same startup time. So I'd appreciate if you guys could join me for that as well. Refs letting them play here. Body's hitting the floor, but it ends up being a Blackshear, I believe. Yes, sir. With the spin move and the finish down low. You know, when I was naming some of the guys who I enjoy watching the most in the conference, I forgot to name Blackshear, but he's really up there as well. Just a big fan of guards do a little bit of everything, you know, stat stuffers. Jabari Rice being another one of those examples that is going to crash the glass a lot, is going to play defense, is going to facilitate well, score the ball, of course. C.J. Roberts, three-point shot, no good. Johnny McCants. And he will get fouled. Did he lose his shoe in that situation or on the previous play? What happened there? Not sure what happened there. Those low tops, man, they fall off way too easily. Not the best support around there for the low tops. We got Phoebe from Friends there, Mr. Incredible. Yeah, they filled up the whole gym with those cutouts, and you know, it felt like a full gym while you're at the game. But I heard a lot of people telling me that, you know, people who are actually watching it on TV or the YouTube live stream or whatever, were saying that when you're just watching the game, you know, it for a little bit it looks like those people with cutouts are just actual people in the gym. So it really does make it look like a pretty big gym, pretty full arena. I had some people asking me if New Mexico State will do that at Eastwood High School. I doubt it, just because, you know, you still got Eastwood out there. So I doubt they'll use it. But that will be cool. There's definitely enough room for it. There's good, decent size of bleachers on both sides. I think there's an upper deck also at Eastwood. I might have to look back at the photo, but it's a decent sized gym, man. Holds 2,000. Renovated, heading into the 2019-2020 season. About as good of an option as you can get if you're looking at high school venues, you know. Obviously, it would have been great to go into the Haskins Center, but schedule issues with them and UTEP, so it wasn't going to work out. But about as good of a high school gym as you can find in El Paso. Beats having to make the trip to Phoenix. If they weren't able to find something in El Paso, they still had the agreement with Grand Canyon to play at their activity center, which is on campus, just right next to the gym here that they're playing at, but it's used for IM games. It's an intramural gym, an activity center, so open to the students and everything. But that's where they would have played had they not been able to find anything in El Paso, because they had made that agreement when they were still located in Phoenix. CC Jabari Rice with the reverse layup. So it definitely beats that, because, you know, they would have had to make that 6-hour drive for game days every single time. So the 1-hour drive to El Paso, can't beat it. So you're still not able to play games in state, in New Mexico. You can practice, but you cannot play games. So you see the three-point shot there. Is that Mikey Dixon? Yes, sir. Good couple games here for Mikey Dixon. I think he had 14 in this one, or if not in the second game. He's someone who really emerged last season for this team. Coming over from... Where is he coming over from? San Diego State? I might be wrong. San Diego State or like... Yeah, I think it is. Maybe. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, had a really good season last year. Actually made a couple of preseason all-WAC teams heading into this year. I think I had him as my all-WAC first or second team. Which won't happen, you know. There's a lot of other guys that have emerged, but still a good option for Grand Canyon, especially since he's like their fourth option right now. Sylvia says Seton Hall. Was it really? Okay. Then I was way off. I was way off. Johnny McCants also way off on the free throw attempt. That one is no good. 55-52. Lopes are up with 5:52 left. A lot of free throw attempts for the Aggies in this one. The Lopes have the ball here. Just a light press. Maybe it's just fatigue that Jans felt, if I do roll out the press, they might break it pretty easily because the team definitely was tired at this point. You could see it. I don't know. I'd imagine if they were in a bit better condition, had they been playing a couple games before this, they probably would be pressing right around now. But that definitely played a factor in this one. You see, that is definitely a charge. I don't know, you can really contest. He's saying, what's he saying there? He's inside the arc or he flopped or something. I don't know. Either way, you drop the shoulder that much, they're going to call that 100% of the time. Let's take a look at this one here. A little bit of a sell from Donnie, but I think when you drop the shoulder that much, you're going to get the call. Aggie's ball going the other way. Two-point game. New Mexico State was in this one. Struggling to score the ball, but still in it. You see, guess evens it out a little bit as Donnie Tillman gets a turnover. Jan's not happy with it, but goes the other way. Would have been a three-point play there. Could have been. Donnie Tillman making his appearance after missing the Western New Mexico game. Didn't start in this one. Again, we don't have a whole lot of details on that. Jans really has been pretty quiet about it. So, not sure what it is. We just know it's not injury related. But did not start in this game. Subbed in pretty quickly. Wilfred Lakai got the start instead. Hey, for what it's worth, Wilfred's done a great job with it. Been playing really well so far. So you see Mikey Dixon, the 1-foot fader. They got a foul down low. Grand Canyon also in the bonus. Sylvia says, just looked it up. It was St. John's. That's what it was. Okay. St. John's. Makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, he's a good player. Definitely a good player. Bit inconsistent when it comes to his shot, but when he's feeling it, he's a really good option for him. And he doesn't have to be the consistent guy for them because they've got the bigs, they've got Blackshear. Really, any time that he heats up, it's just a bonus for this team. And you still got guys like Oscar Freyer. Sean Miller-Moore hasn't played a whole lot yet, but he's another guy that's good for this team. Chance McMillian, whose name I just learned in this stream, played well for him in this series also. It's a very good Grand Canyon team. Definitely improved from last season. Tiddly Gibbon, Lakai needs to continue his scoring in the second half. Seemed to not do much offensively in the second of both games. Yeah, I agree. He really came out swinging to start. But at the end of the day, it shouldn't be on Wilfred to be that go-to option. You're looking for guys like Evan Gilliard to be wanting that ball. Jabari Rice, Clayton Henry, Johnny McCants. Just weren't able to have somebody come through down the stretch here. I probably would have put him over the edge with it being this close, But yeah, there's definitely still room to improve with Wilfred. I still think that he needs to put on a bit more muscle and get a little bit stronger. Still gets pushed around on the blocks just a little bit too much. That's something Jans was saying as well. Even though he has spread out the floor, he's had his games where he struggled to hit him from deep. I think entering the series, he was only something like 3 for 12 or something like that from deep. Consistency is still an issue, but hey, at the end of the day, you're looking for any of these new guys to step up, and he's done it the most out of anybody, You see the foul trouble for the Lopes. I'm surprised they didn't have more people foul out. New Mexico State's shooting 26 free throws in the second half alone. I don't know how they didn't have guys foul out. A lot of them there were 4, but that's pretty crazy. Jabari with one more here to make it a 4-point game if he can get this one to drop. First game back for Jabari, both him and Clayton Henry. A little bit of a surprise, sneaky Coach Jans, uh, always playing chess, um, had made it seem, I'm not going to say he straight up lied and said they were going to be out, but had made it seem that they weren't going to be playing in this series. Uh, Both of them were in boots on Monday for the game against Western New Mexico. And Jans has said that Jabari had suffered setbacks. He said that after Monday's game. Then he also had said that Clayton was going to be a long-term injury, using his words there. But they came back for this one. Still need to shake off a bit of rust, get back into that game shape. But, good to see them back out there. Obviously, really impactful guys from New Mexico State. Preseason WAC Player of the Year for Jabari. I think Clayton is the best defender on the team. Normally one of their best three-point options, even though he struggled from deep. But then again, the whole team did in this series. Team will definitely get better as they get better and get conditioned again. Speaking of Henry, he gets the ball down low to Jabari. Swinging the ball around the perimeter here. 6 seconds on the shot clock. Another possession where they're just not attacking as much, and it leads to a look like this, with the shot clock winding down. And a shot clock violation in this case. Just really need to push the tempo more on the fast break, get out on the run. Because the half-court setting, Grand Canyon's too long, their zone is too good. Not a whole lot working when you try to set up the offense like that. As we see Lever with the mid-range shot, no good. Gilliard going the other way. 6-point game, 2:50 left in this one. A little hesitation. And I believe that is a foul on the floor beforehand. Gilliard definitely capable, just creating for himself. Shifty, quick with the ball in his hands. A pretty good finisher as well. Was really expecting him to take on a bigger scoring role this year, with guys like Trevelin Queen out, or no longer with the team, I should say. Yvonne Adekoechea. Yvonne really had to be a facilitator. Evan had to be a facilitator last year, just out of necessity, with AJ Harris out. But I was really expecting him to be a more consistent scoring option this year, and he's had his flashes, without a doubt. You look at how he closed out that game against or the first half against Benedict Mesa. He had a great scoring burst. Western New Mexico, same thing right before the half. But, you can say that with a lot of the guys on the team so far this year. Really glimpses, not a whole lot of complete performances, which I guess happens when you have to go on start and stop so many times with the season, with all these pauses, all the cancellations. It's hard to get into a rhythm, and hopefully that can happen now because you know who you're going to be playing next week and the week after that and after that, since it's conference play. You have more time to prepare. Hopefully there's fewer cancellations now. No more positives, so no more going on pause. Hopefully that'll help this team get into the flow a little bit more. We got a 61-56 lead for Grand Canyon with 2:36 left. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. As always, we're getting down to the home stretch of this one. If you enjoyed this live stream, please leave a like. And I would appreciate if you guys would continue to tune in for this Aggie Rewind series. We do this after every single New Mexico State game. So it'll be Mondays and Tuesdays. That's going to be the schedule from now on. Since all the games are Friday, Saturday, I'm going to take Sunday off. Just try to prep myself for the next week because pretty busy pretty much start to finish for every week at this point with the season going on. But yeah, Mondays and Tuesdays we'll be doing these 7 p.m. every single time. Then Wednesdays you got straight shooter. Thursdays you got previews of the upcoming matchups, and then Friday, Saturday we got game coverage. So we see the miss there. Midgard getting the ball, and it's looking like a foul down low. Midgard not happy with it. It's going the other way. Coach Drew, first year head coach for Grand Canyon, off to a great start. Team's been playing really well. And they haven't been playing scrubs either. You guys got to keep that in mind. Like in non-conference play, they're really competitive against like Arizona State. This is a team that really was battle tested in non-conference play. And I think that's helped them here in WAC play as well. I believe they're calling a push off there. Again, I do have it on mute, so I apologize if I'm a little bit lost sometimes. You guys got to bear with me there. Sorry guys, texting the editor real quick. Making sure that article got in for print about Eastwood High School being the home venue for New Mexico State. News broke about 30 minutes after our print deadline, but I've been trying to work with our design team here to make sure it gets in on time. 63-58, Grand Canyon, 142 left. Aggies with the ball. Jabari Rice getting in the lane. Getting stifled down there. Kicking it out to McCann's three-point shot, no good. Extra board by Clayton Henry. Reverse, no good. It's Midgard with the board. Lever really didn't want to pick up any fouls. You could tell this Grand Canyon team was afraid to pick up fouls at this point with how many they've been called on. Lever wasn't even near the ball. He was just straight up. He's like, I don't want to be called on anything. Oh my goodness. Bully ball by Midgard down low. Tough to stop, man. 7 foot. You know, Johnny isn't one that normally gets pushed around down low too much. But I mean, at a certain point, there's only so much you can do. You know, when you're 6'7" going up against a 7-footer. Same with Donnie here, 6'7" going up against 6'10". Size advantage for Grand Canyon. Alex M, appreciate you for chiming in. Or actually, let me get to Tiddly first. Let me see. You need the announcers to get the full experience. Biggest homers I've ever heard. That's what I heard. I heard a lot of people saying that they were muting the games. I was actually sitting right next to them, so nice people. I didn't really hear what they were saying during the game because I was focused on writing. But that's what I heard a lot of people saying that yeah, we just want to mute the game. Obviously they work for Grand Canyon, so they're gonna be biased towards them. Alex M saying Grand Canyon struggled in all of their first games versus Dixie, Tarleton State, and MSU. Maybe something to keep in mind for March where they don't have the second game to make adjustments. Yeah, that's true. And I thought that would really be something that would help out New Mexico State in this one. I thought, you know, you have that second game as we see really the dagger there by Oscar Freire. I really thought having that second game would help New Mexico State make an adjustment because I expected them to lose game one. You know, first game in like a month going up against the top team in the WAC record-wise. You know, they were an underdog in the line for a reason. I think 4-point underdog. But I really did think that once you get that second game, back-to-back days, you're going to be able to make the adjustments that you need. It just didn't happen. You know, it was even a worse game. The second one was a bigger blowout. So yeah, I guess that goes to show that sometimes it can work in your favor, other times it can't. You know, in Grand Canyon's case, like you said, against Dixie State, Tarleton State, they adjusted better, but in New Mexico State's case, you know, it didn't help them. So pros and cons to it for sure. But yeah, once you're in that NCAA tournament, it's win or go home. Win or the end of your season, you know, because it is a one-bid conference at the end of the day. You got to get that automatic bid if you want to play in the NCAA tournament. So always exciting. I was really looking forward to covering it last year, but, you know, everything happened. But hopefully I'll get to cover it this year. Sylvia, they were tired. Yeah, definitely. And that's something Jans was saying as well in the press conference that, you know, guys were gassed. You know, you can tell they already gassed in the second half of this one. Definitely the second game definitely played a role as well. Yeah, I mean, when you don't play a game for a month and then you don't practice for 2 weeks, it's hard to go up against a team that's already played almost like 10 more games than you in the season. They've been in game shape. I don't think they've been on pause yet, at least not recently. They were ready for this one, and New Mexico State wasn't fully prepared for it. So tough situation, but still plenty of time in the rest of this conference season to shake that rust and get ready for the WAC tournament. 8-point lead for Grand Canyon as it looks like this one is all but over. The lob right there from Dixon to Frere, just ridiculous lob. Frere's ability to get up there is crazy. Definitely, probably the most athletic guy on the team. Yeah, definitely. It's a good Grand Canyon squad, man. Geared with the ball here. He's going to let this one fly. No good. Johnny with the tip in. Still working on the glass. It's one positive that you can try to build on is their work on the glass. Even in moments where they were tired, they were crashing the glass well. Although Jans had a pretty funny way of saying it. He said that, I forget which reporter it was. I think it was Kyle for WAC Hoops Digest asked, that the offensive rebounds, that's got to be something that you guys can build on. And Jans was like, well, there were a lot of offensive rebounds to be had because we were missing a lot of shots. And that's one way to look at it. They had plenty of opportunities to get those boards. But even then, just because you're missing shots doesn't mean you're fighting to get into the right positioning and stuff like that. That's still effort at the end of the day. So hopefully they can build on that. It definitely helps when you have guards who assist in that. Clayton Henry helped out a lot. Jabari Rice was helping out. I think even like CJ Roberts got a board on the offensive glass. That's something that New Mexico State does really well, is making sure that they bring in guards that help on the boards. 5-point lead for Grand Canyon. They also have the ball with 22 seconds left. Once this is over, we're going to look up stats for this, and then I will also read quotes, anything that we got from the team. We only talked to Jans after this one, but I will read off what he said. Let me go ahead and get that ready for you guys. Normally this part gets cut out. I don't know why we're still watching this, but oh well. Another look at this tip in here. Johnny gets it to go down. Aggies falling to 3-2 on the season with this one, 0-1 in WAC play. Still searching for their first Division I win of the season. Of course, this is only their second attempt to get a Division I win, so it's still a loss to Cal State Northridge and now to Grand Canyon. Wins over a pair of NAIA teams and one Division II squad in Western New Mexico. And we got more of a stoppage. I really don't remember any of this. I think at this point I was typing away. I was trying to get this article ready for print. So I really don't remember a whole lot of this. I don't remember there being a pause. I was probably glad there was to buy myself a little bit more time. It looks like we should be getting back here. I do have it on mute, so maybe I'm missing something. Were they looking at if it was offensive interference? Was it inside the rim? I'm not sure. Yeah, it looks like that's what they're talking about then. About it being inside the rim. Not sure. We do have it muted, and from what you guys have been saying about the commentators, I don't know if you even want the commentators on. But okay, they're definitely, okay, that's what they're looking at then. Oh, that his hand was in the rim. He got caught up in the net. Well, I mean, clearly they counted it at the end of the day because New Mexico State had 62 in this one. Yeah. Are they trying to see if he tipped it at all? This is why I want to have the announcers on, but it's just very hard to hear what I'm saying when that's happening. I'm a bit lost, folks. I apologize. Grand Canyon with the ball here. Looks like it got sorted out. Either way, just a formality. So Lopes getting ready to draw this out, but we got one more trip to the line from Blackshear, and that'll do it. Alex M. Commentators mentioned at the end how the WAC might have a new sheriff in town because GCU won. I think I remember one of them was interviewing Mikey Dixon, I think, after the game, and I'm pretty sure Dixon was saying the same thing too. You know, they were trying to prove that they were the best team in the WAC. I mean, hey, I base it off of whichever team is playing the best right now. When you do that, to me, they are the team that's playing the best in the WAC right now. You know. Now, is it going to be a long-term thing? That we don't know, but I mean, Grand Canyon is playing the best right now. You know, they deserve all the credit in the world. As much as it was a factor that New Mexico State hadn't played in a month, but you don't want to take away from what Grand Canyon did either. You know, their defense still was causing problems. It's not just because of rest for New Mexico State. You gotta give credit where it's due. So the Lopes get the win there. Snaps New Mexico State's 31-game regular season win streak. Actually, a 34-game win streak overall, if you include the postseason. But that streak is now over for New Mexico State. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at the stats in this one, and then we'll read quotes from Coach Jans, because we did talk to him after the game. Johnny McCann's 15 points, 7 boards, both of which were team highs on 4 for 11 shooting. 12 points and 4 rebounds for Jabari Rice in his return after dealing with a Jones fracture in his right foot. Speaking of a foot injury, Clayton Henry also been dealing with his own injury. However, he came back and put in 5 points, 4 rebounds. 9 points and 4 boards for Wilfred Lakai on his second start of the season. 2 for 4 shooting from deep. So he spread the floor really well. Aggies, though, shot 30% from the floor. That's 16 for 52. They then shot 5 for 30 from the three-point line, and I think they started off 3 for 4. So after that, a lot of blanks for them, 16.7%. And then from the free throw line 25 for 33, 75.8%. 26 of those free throw attempts in the second half. So they were getting to the charity stripe with these. Grand Canyon, 14 points for both Alessandro Lever and Mikey Dixon. They had another 2 players score double digits. Absor Midgard, 12 points, 9 boards. Javon Blackshear Jr., 11 points. And a game-high 8 assists. 26 of 49 shooting for the Grand Canyon. That was 53.1%. 7 for 18 from three-point range, 38.9%. It's a team that doesn't really shoot the three ball much. A lot of shots inside. And then 11 for 12 from the charity stripe. That's 91.7%. Let's go ahead and take a look at what Coach Jans had to say before we get out of here. Here we go. Jans on the teams' shooting. He said, "We didn't shoot very well. Some of that has got to be credit to Grand Canyon's defense. Some of it has got to be that we have to run better offense to get a better shot. And that's on me to put our guys in better positions so we can get better shots. ... We had our chances." Then Jans on the teams' rebounding. He said, "I don't want to take anything away from our guys. We missed a lot of shots. There were a lot of offensive rebounds that were available because we missed a lot of shots. But rebounding is something that we certainly take a lot of pride in. That was a positive. I thought we battled at least on the glass," he said. So that is it, guys. Tough game for the Aggies. They dropped to 3-2 on the season. But I appreciate you guys for tuning in, even though it was a loss. Thank you so much for watching this with me, rewatching this, I should say. If you want to watch Game 2 between New Mexico State and Grand Canyon, we're going to watch that tomorrow at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. This upcoming Friday and Saturday, the Aggies are set to play Cal Baptist. So the next Monday and Tuesday, we'll go ahead and rewatch those games as well here on our YouTube channel. If you guys want to stay up to date with everything that I've got going on, anytime I'm reporting on something for the Aggies, the first place you can find what I'm talking about is on Twitter at @JTheSportsDude. If you want sort of just a weekly recap every single week, well then check out my Straight Shooter podcast. It's every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Mountain Time. Hoping this week we'll be able to talk to Marcus Watson since he just gained eligibility. We'll see on that. You can watch those podcasts here on our YouTube channel, SoundCloud, Facebook, which is Sun U Sports, Apple Podcasts, the Sun U's website. Tons of ways to check that out. So make sure to do that as well. I think that's all that I have for you guys. I normally have like 2 whole minutes of plugging stuff, but I gotta honestly go record this podcast right now. So I'm not gonna waste too much of your guys' time. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Thank you so much. Hopefully I will see you tomorrow as well. Stay safe, everybody. Have a great rest of your week. And that is it for me today, guys. This has been Justin Martinez, a.k.a. Jay the Sports Dude. And I'm out.